مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم.
الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه وأهل بيته ومن تبع سنته أجمعين. فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الله تبارك وتعالى: اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق الإنسان من علق. اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى أن رآه استغنى إن إلى ربك الرجع. أرأيت الذي ينهى عبدا إذا صلى أرأيت إن كان على الهدى أو أمر بالتقوى أرأيت إن كذب وتولى ألم يعلم بأن الله يرى. كلا لئن لم ينتهي لنصفعا بالناصية ناصية كاذبة خاطئة فليدع النادية سندع الزبانية. كلا لا تطيعه واسجد واقترب. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم والعاقبة للمتقين ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. I started with Surah Alaq, and last time I read the first 5 verses of it, and today I read the complete of the surah because I just wanted to finish one surah and go on to the next. So in the interpretation of this surah, the 19 verses, in this the first portion, as I said, was the first command to Prophet, and Allah was giving him the assignment, and I will read it as a translation in the flow. Read in the name of your Rabb, your Lord, who created man from a embryo or leech-like mass. Read, your Lord is the most gracious, who taught by pen, taught men what he knew not. Nay, indeed, man transgresses all bounds when he consider himself to be a self-sufficient, although surely towards your Lord is his return. Have you seen the one? The man's name is Abu Jahl. It is in the reference to this man who forbids a servant who is Muhammad, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, from offering prayers, the salah. He have considered if he was in the right guidance. Enjoying the true piety, why we would forbid someone from prayers. Have you considered if he, means Abu Jahl, denied the truth and turned away, what will happen? Does he not know that Allah is observing all things? Nay, let him know that if he does not stop, we will drag him by the forelock, which is the forehead, which is the frontal lobe of the brain, and this is the area of the forelock, a lying, sinful forelock. So let him call his supporters for help. We too shall call the guards of hell to deal with him. Nay, do not obey him. Prostrate yourself and bring yourself closer to your Rabb and your Lord. Now, this last verse is a ayat sajda. In this verse, whenever the person who read it, the one who listen to it, once must perform sajda. So after our program is finished, make sure one time you do the sajda. Now in the revelation, we see a direct communication to Prophet through the angel, and there was an incident which happened later whenever the prayer was made obligatory, which was the second thing came to Prophet. After he was given the prophecy, he was commanded to perform salah. Jibreel alayhi salam appeared to him and he showed him how to make the wudu and how to perform the salah. There were 2 times salah were ordered initially, morning and the night. So Prophet, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, was once performing salah in Kaaba, and these people were very much anti-Kaaba or anti-Muslim. They used to call, by the way, Muslim kafir, because they were denying their original faith. So Abu Jahl was one of the men. His name was Umar bin Hasham. He was a cousin uncle of Prophet because they were all tribally related. I will show you one of the picture where each and every one of them used to live in the Mecca city. So he was a very respected and honorable and respected wise man. He was so wise, he has a title of Abul Hakam, means the father of wisdom. He's the one who was so much angry with Prophet that and his preaching because it was not from his tribe. Because in one place he accepted that it is our tribal rivalry. So he stopped Prophet by restricting him from prayer. The couple of incidents happened which I would like to bring to your attention. Once Prophet was making salah, he was not fighting, he was not arguing, he was not doing anything to anybody, and these people were sitting and watching him performing salah. What they did is, when Prophet himself was praying, he called somebody to come and bring the omentum and the placenta of a camel. And they brought it and put it on between shoulders of Prophet Wasallam. He was buried under it, he could not breathe. This Fatima bint Mohammad Wasallam, she was a young lady, she was a girl like maybe when Prophet became revealed as a prophet. She was not more than 4 to 6 years age, and this thing happened sometime in very early ages of Prophet's life of the Islam. So she ran over to try to protect her father, and she was crying and trying to remove this dirt of his father, and then she brought him home. Because you can imagine a 6-10 years old girl, what she can do against these grown-up, mature, male chauvinistic culture where there was no right of women. So she came home and started cleaning her father, washing his face and all that. So she was crying, and this incident happened at that time. Then another incident happened where they tried to put a rope. Actually, they took a cloth and turned it into a rope and wrap around the neck of Prophet and squeeze it to the point where his eyeballs were popping out and he was almost choking to death. And these are the first few 4 or 5 revelation came in, because this is the resistance coming to them. So from them. So Prophet ﷺ was in this hardship, and Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala came in and he said, why you hurt a man who just says Allah is my Lord? What is he doing to you so that you would not accept him? So, and they beat him up to the point that he was fainted. So he was fainted for 3 days, and then he came back to his senses, and his family run to protect him. But he had only one question: where is my prophet? Where is Prophet Muhammad? So there was persecution have already started, and it was to the point that Muslims were not allowed to do anything. They were being persecuted to the point where they were almost treated as outcast or are not out of their own people. So this happened when the prophecy started. It was the Monday, it was the month of Ramadan, it was the 21st of Ramadan, it was the night of the Laylatul Qadr. That's when the first revelation came to Prophet, and it was supposedly calculated as 610 of the Gregorian calendar. It was the month of August. It was supposedly 10th of August when Prophet got the first revelation, and then there was a continuous few revelation came in. So this was the first one, and the second revelation came to Prophet, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, was this Surah Noon wal Qalam, and Noon is a huruf muqattiyat. They use it for seeking attention, and that does not have any explanation as of now. But for us to know is that this is how Arabic tradition was to seek attention in the matter of his speech. So it was like Noon wal Qalam, and by the pen, Wama Yasturun, and what it writes. Now you see, first one was about education and knowledge and reading. The very second surah, which was revealed to Prophet within several days, was that about again pen and writing. Ma anta bi ni'mati rabbika bi majnoon, and indeed by the mercy of your Lord you are not majnoon, which means mad or crazy or insane. We don't use these words in honor of our Prophet, so we say na'uzu billah. So this is the second thing. وَإِنَّ لَكَ لَعَجْرًا غَيْرَ مَمْنُونَ, and indeed for you there is an unlimited reward. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ, and indeed you have the best of the most etiquette, beautiful personality and being. فَسَتُبْصِرُ وَيُبْصِرُونَ, and soon we will show them and they will see what they will see. بِأَيِّكُمُ الْمَفْتُونَ, and who is the one, they will soon find out who is the one who is out of their mind or insane or crazy. Inna rabbaka huwa alimu biman dalla an sabili huwa alimu bil muhtadin. Indeed, your Lord knows who is misguided and who is on his righteous path. Wa huwa alimu bil muhtadin, and he knows who is on the righteous guidance. فَلَا تُطِعْ الْمُكَذِّبُونَ. Do not obey the one who are liar. وَدُّوا لَوْ تُدْهِنُوا فَيُدْهِنُونَ. They wish that if you turn, soften towards them, because now is the war between monotheism and idol worship. Idol gods and one God, the true God of belief worship. وَلَا تُطِعْهُ كُلَّ حَلَّافٍ مَهِينٍ. And do not obey the one who takes false oath and disgraceful. Hammazim Masha'im bin Namim, and the one who is taunting and slandering and walk away, and he does the backbiting and slandering. Manna'in lil khairil mu'tadin, and he stops people from doing the goodness. Utullim ba'da dhalika zanim, and he is of the bad etiquettes, and he is born out of wedlock. He is a what we call haram in our culture, that born of the fornication, not of the halal marriage. An kana dha malin wa banin, and he wants more of the son and the wealth. إذا تتلى عليه آياتنا قال أساطير الأولين. When the verses of the Quran, the signs of Allah, are recited to him, he says these are the stories of the old people. سنسمه على الخرطوم, and indeed we will put a lock on his nasals, as the camel locks is put in as they control the animal. Inna balawnahum kama balawna ashab al-jannah. We will be testing people like the people of the person who owned the orchard. They were the people who were owner of the garden. إِذَا أَقْسَمُوا لَيَسْرِ مِنْهُمَا مُصْبِحِينَ. And in the early dawn of the morning, they went in to take the fruits down so that no beggars and needy will come to them. وَلَا يَسْتَوْسُونَ. And they did not say, Insha'Allah, by the will of Allah. فَطَافَ عَلَيْهَا طَائِفٌ مِّن رَبِّكَ وَهُمْ نَائِمُونَ. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turned it and destroyed it when they were asleep. In other words, that orchard was burned and destroyed. فَأَصْبَحَتْ كَالصَّرِيمِ. When فَتَنَادَوْا مُصْبِحِينَ. Then when in the morning they got there, they found that whole things were lost. They had nothing left. إِنْ غَدُوا عَلَى حَرْسِكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَارِمِينَ فَانْطَلِقُوا هُمْ يَتَخَافَتُونَ ألا يدخلنا اليوم عليكم مسكين وغدوا على حرد قادرين فلما رأوها قالوا إنا لضالون بل نحن محرومون قال أوسطهم ألم أقل لكم لولا تصبحون قالوا سبحان ربنا إنا كنا ظالمين فأقبل بعضهم على بعض يتلاممون قالوا يا ويلنا إنا كنا طاغين عسى ربنا أن يبدلنا خيرا منها إنا إلى ربنا راغبون كذلك العذاب والعذاب الآخرة أكبر لو كانوا يعلمون إن للمتقين عند ربهم جنات النعيم أفنجعل المسلمين كالمجرمين ما لكم كيف تحكمون أم لكم كتاب فيه تدرسون إن لكم فيه لما تخيرون أم لكم إيمان علينا باللغة إلى يوم القيامة إن لكم لما تحكمون سلهم أيهم بذلك زعيم أم لهم شركاء فليأتوا بشركائهم إن كانوا صادقين يوم يكشف عن ساق ويدعون إلى السجود فلا يستطيعون خاشية أبصارهم ترهقهم ذلة وقد كانوا يدعون إلى السجود وهم سالمون فذرني من يكذب بهذا الحديث سنستدرجهم من حيث لا يعلمون وأملي لهم إن كيدي متين أم تسألهم أجرا فهم من مغرم مسلقون أم عندهم الغيب فهم يكتبون فاصبر لحكم ربك لا تكن كأصحاب الحوت إذ نادى هو مكظوم. Only few ayat more left to read it, so inshallah I will then read the translation. لولا أن تركه نعمة من ربه لنبذل لآرائه وهم مذموم فاجتباه ربه فجعله من الصالحين وإن يكاد الذين كفروا لا يزلقونك بأبصارهم لما سمعوا الذكر ويقولون إنه لمجنون وما هو إلا ذكر للعالمين صدق الله العظيم. It is again, this is the second revelation which happened, and that is the Surah Noon wal Qalam. In this chapter, if we look at the summary, they are dealing with few affairs. Number one is that Allah is declaring that Prophet ﷺ and his character and his attributes, and he has the highest moral. This is a Noon wal Qalami wa ma yasturun, by taking the oath of the pen. And then there's a command that do not obey or yield to the disbelieving oathmonger, slanderer, and wicked person. And then example is given about the arrogant, stingy owner of garden who did not want to pay charity. As a result, these gardens was destroyed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So as is our scholar says and our ulama teaches that when sometimes we take care of our needy family and poor people, we get more risk because of them. So we need to be giving always to get our more. This is very important, that is to be applied all across the humanity and the life, that we should be giving without fear of getting poor. Prophet ﷺ was so generous that he never said no to anybody who came to ask him for any help or any need. And then Allah is not going to treat the Muslim as he will treat the criminals. These means those who deny God, they are Muslims. So no matter how bad of a Muslim is by his character, by his action, he is still better than a disbeliever. This is something to understand. Creed is most important. This is the creed, that none is worthy of worship except Allah, is the most important creed to be known. Those who do not believe in Allah's revelation are led step by step towards the destruction. So when there are stories, and I would like to just to understand, there was a scholar who was an imam of a masjid, and again he was not very much into his deep understanding, and he thought that nobody come to the prayer in the Fajr. Not many people are in the dawn prayer. So what happened was he started praying at home. And then after a few days, he stopped praying at home. Then people demanded. Then he came to pray without wudu. Then he came without even ghusl. And then he thought that nothing happened, because when he was doing it, things were just working fine. And what happened in this time period, that his heart was getting away from the faith. And this is how slowly a person goes away from the faith. It came to a point when a group of monks approached him and invited him to be their follower. And he said, when I read all my life Quran and religion and practice, nothing different happened. What difference it made? So if I joined this faith or that faith, in the other faith he found more attraction at that time. So he accepted their faith and became a follower of that faith. So one scholar came to him and he said, what happened? You were the imam of the masjid and suddenly now you're a disbeliever. He said, I did these things and nothing happened, so I don't find any difference. He said, did you not realize that God gave you everything? He gave you wealth and life and health and everything what you needed. And it was your task as an imam or as a believer, whether anybody believes or not, anybody practice or not, anybody worships or not, you should have stood straight forward in your faith, and you should have been firm in your conviction. And God did not take anything away from you. He just took the belief from you. So his heart was darkened from the faith. So this is how slowly people get away from the faith. So a lot of temptation comes in the life of a believer. A person could be righteous and believe that I'm a righteous person, yet he might or she might be drifting away from the faith and will be the loser at the end. So we need to be very careful in matter of creed of a faith. No matter what, my creed of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah is not going to change. Temptations will be in the way. As we know, our Prophet and his family and his companions suffered enormously, but they never quitted from the faith. This is the utmost thing to remember. The last thing we can live and die for is our faith.